Flight mode.
We are in the motherfucking house.
We're live.
Are we allowed to curse? We didn't talk about that.
Fuck yeah.
Let's get some roll the intro music. This is when you wait for the intro music to roll out. You got that right?
Yeah, so we need a timer or something, like a little 15-second thing.
Hey guys, welcome to our first episode of the Good Vibes Theory. My name is Nelson.
My name's Matty.
And we are here to pretty much share with you what we have learned about life and the good vibes all around.
A certain theory that we've been working on.
Yeah, we've been working on this theory that if you put the good vibes out there, if you share who you are truly with the universe replies back in a positive way. Does that sound good?
That sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
And conducting yourself in a way that just makes you feel good.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Like, just be you. Be yourself. You know, that's what the world needs. The world needs people that is putting their true selves out there. And we're here to encourage those people to get out there through our own experiences, stories, and pretty much where we have fucked up in the past and where we have got little victories. So
pretty much. All right. So where are we going to start? Are we going to episode 1? We're just going to intro each other?
Yeah,
intro yourself.
Exactly right. So right now we're pretty much winging it. We didn't plan anything at all. Matty's a bit nervous because he was trying to procrastinate recording this episode. How are you feeling? Talk to me through.
I'm feeling a little bit nervous. Podcast number 1. How many times have you done this?
I mean, I have done almost 80 times now because I have a Spanish speaking podcast called Vibes, if you translate it, Vibras. So this is the first podcast I will do in English, which is quite nerve-wracking.
But for me, I've done one before and it was like a YouTube call-in thing, which was completely different.
Yeah.
But to just like be sitting here in front of microphones and trying to make sure the conversation's just going to happen. Yeah. It is a bit nerve-wracking. Yeah.
No, but we're pretty good at that. Like without microphones and shit, we constantly have conversations, right? That's
the point of the podcast is have our conversations that we have all the time anyway, just with these 2 microphones in front of us.
I know. No, I get where you're coming from. I've been there. I have felt that anxiety of just getting into a conversation and straight shooting, and what if the conversation is not good or whatever. And people, let me give you a heads up. So I'm from Venezuela. That means my mother tongue of language, however you want to call it, is not English, as you can tell. I have an accent and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna fucked up every single episode. So that's my first question to you. Like, why the hell would you say yes to me when I brought you this idea of, hey, let's start a podcast?
I'm pretty sure your English speaking is like near as good as many English speaking people. A lot of English speaking people, they fuck up a bit too. Right? They're not that good. So I've never had an issue in communicating with you.
No, so this is like a big challenge for me, for sure. And I know it's gonna help me improve and like sort of like expand my vocabulary, I guess. But I've always wanted to start an English podcast since I moved to Australia, and it never felt like the timing was right because my English, I wasn't confident enough to go on a deep conversation with another human. So now, finally, after 4 years, it feels like, oh yeah, I feel like I can finally do this. And then it just happens to be that we moved in on the same place together. Well, I'm moving into your house because you invited me to live with you.
You're my roommate.
Yeah, we're pretty much housemates. Not roommates. We don't share the same wife / room. Not yet.
If she had a bit of... Yeah, we won't go there. Anyway. How do you feel your sort of progression with English has been? Like, was it you got to a certain level, like, or what was it like when you first came to Australia?
Bro, wait, that's the thing that I always think about. Like, if I would have met you when I first got to Australia, most likely we wouldn't be friends like now. We would probably know each other, but we wouldn't have this strong friendship
There
that
would
we
have
have
just been a
right now.
communication barrier that you can't get across.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have gotten to know you, and same way around, just because I couldn't communicate properly in English. So like when I look back at seeing the Nelson that first got into Australia 4 years ago, I'm like, poor kid, man. Like, he had a rough time, you know? Bro, when you move into a country where the main language is different to yours, fuck, man, there's a lot of work in there, you know? Like, even to apply for jobs, to communicate with anyone, to make friends, to find girls, whatever, man, whatever it is. You just have a huge barrier, you know.
Super daunting. Can you remember when you sort of realized you're like, hey, I'm getting by now?
I think when I first met you, actually, which we're gonna get into it, after I did that trip with the two of you, I was like, okay, maybe I'm finally getting somewhere with English. Because I spent fucking 5 days with 2 Australians, and you guys speak fast, you use a lot of slang, and somehow I got to understand everything we were talking about. And whenever I didn't know a word or whatever, I would just ask, and you guys are very, you know, chill, and you understand that, oh, okay, he speaks Spanish, it makes sense that I need to explain to him whatever it is, you know. So
I felt on that trip, which was, well, it was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Your English was definitely at a conversational level where it's like, okay, we get this guy doesn't speak English, but it wasn't like anything was hard to communicate. There might be you explain something in a different way, but it wasn't like trying to talk to someone with broken English. So I think at that level you were already beyond being able to function in the society sort of thing. But when you first came, was it like, I know when I go to other countries, like you go to Woolworths, the shops, and you try and buy something and you just can't even deal? Did you have that when you first got here?
Bro, when I first got here, I had some listening because I have traveled to the States quite a bit and I have some family there. And then, you know, listening to music, watching movies with subtitles and stuff, I had some listening. But when you put yourself in the position where you actually have to talk, that's a huge step from, I understand what they're saying, to, let me get into that conversation, or let me try to communicate what's going through my head. You know, like, that's a huge gap there. So when I first got here, getting used to also understand American English, and I first got to listen Australians, and in Australia, the thing is that you also have people from so many different backgrounds, like Asians, Europeans, whatever it is, that grew up here in Australia, and they all have different accents. So you have like 15 different accents that they all sound very different from American English. So when I first got here and started listening to people, good day, all these things, I was just like, what the fuck are they saying? You know? So finally, I would say like, the first year was very rough, very frustrating in terms of like getting better jobs, like trying to get along with people and expressing myself like to the fullest. I felt like conversations probably were very, very shallow because I wasn't able to express the way I'm able to do it now. So back then, even I remember one of my first jobs was at a restaurant, Vapiano, an Italian restaurant, and I remember the guy telling me like, so just go and put on an apron. I was like, what the fuck is an apron? And I tried so hard. I remember just staring at him for like 5 seconds. That felt like 5 minutes, and him waiting for me. Like, because he told me, like, just go put on an apron and stay like this. I was like,
he's like, what is wrong with this person?
I'm like, the apron, of course. Of course. Bro, I was so lost, you know, like...
Yeah, I feel it would be really frustrating as well because like you're smart, right? So you went through uni, so you're academic, but then if you can't communicate, you can't show any of that.
Well, and a little bit of a stop there. Just because I went to university, that doesn't really make me smart. Because there's a lot of people out there that they went through uni, they're engineers, doctors, dentists, all this shit. And they're just dumb as fuck. They just got their way through, you know.
I'm talking about you, Nelson.
Yeah, just making it clear.
We'll go into your university story later or whenever.
Yeah.
But pretty much what I'm saying is you're smart, but if you were bootstrapped by language, people would not look at you like a smart person.
Yeah, they just don't get the full picture of me, you know. They just get a little grasp of like, hey, yeah, that's Nelson, you know, he's a Venezuelan, whatever, he works hard, but doesn't have much conversation. And it's not really that, it's just that I wasn't able to express myself.
It would be so frustrating, like that guy saying get an apron and he's going like, how dumb is this guy?
yeah bro, that guy, which by the way, he was one of the biggest assholes that I have met here in Australia, but also there's so much I learned from him, because we're gonna probably talk about all these things in the future episodes, but like even having the worst bosses of all time, you learn so much from them. You know, I learned so much from like the good bosses that I have, the good managers, whatever, than from the bad ones, you know, because you always learn like, oh, this is how the manager that I do like behaves, so I should mimic those things into my life. Or if I ever get into that sort of position where I have people working for me or with me, and then you have the assholes where you're like, fuck man, I better never become that human being, you know, because everyone will hate me and I won't get along with most of the people and they won't get shit done because they just hate me, you know. So there's always learning in having like bad managers, great managers, or whatever it is that expands to all areas in life, right? Like we learn from the good stuff and the bad stuff as well. And when you sort of teach yourself of how to learn from all the bad shit that is happening to you, life becomes so much easier, right? Like you're able to navigate better to this weird thing on the floating rock that we call life. But let's just we've been rambling for a bit. Let's give people a little bit of an intro of who we are and why we're doing this. You want to go first, sir? Because I'm a gentleman.
Well, I was thinking you could show me how to do it because
you're too nervous.
I don't know how to do it. You're the professional.
Well, we're just going plain and easy. My name is Nelson. If you want to know my last name, is Ferreira. Very professional.
Exotic.
I'm Venezuelan, like I said before. I'm 27 years old, and I started dentistry back home. I worked as a dentist for a full year, and then because if you have heard anything of Venezuela, we're in a pretty bad situation at the moment. It's been happening for years now. We're in sort of a dictatorship, a regime going on. So pretty much anyone around my age has been trying to find better opportunities in different countries. So Venezuelans are spread all around the world, especially in, you know, like South America and Spain. But then there's this little group of crazy Venezuelans that decide to come to the other side of the world. That was me. So came here 4 years ago when I was 23 and started doing, you know, all those different kind of jobs that I wouldn't do back home being a dentist. You know, went from doing deliveries to doing bartending to doing working at restaurants, cafes, markets, all these things. And because of having a very sad experience of losing my best friend just before coming to Australia, I started to reevaluate my entire life, because that happened literally 1 week before me leaving Venezuela to come to Australia. And that was one of those things that makes you completely stop what you're doing and be like, holy shit, wait. So I just lost my best friend, and he was exactly like me, you know, like young dentist, athletic, friendly, just doing good, all these things. And from one moment to another, he was gone. That could be me. So if that's me, am I happy with everything I've been doing my entire life? Am I happy with what I have left behind me? Right. So I started asking all these deep questions, and the answer was always like, I don't know. I don't feel like, Nelson will just be okay with being the best dentist, let's say, in the world or whatever. Like dentistry didn't have some sort of place in that picture. So I started to ask a lot of questions, and while I mentioned doing all these jobs because all those jobs gave me time to think, to be like, because the plan at the beginning was like, oh, okay, I should become a dentist in Australia. I guess that I'm meant to do that. And while doing those jobs, it was like, shit, man, I don't feel like dentistry will make me, will make me feel like fulfilled or with purpose, or driven, all these things. And then I just happened to realize I bought a camera before coming. I have been into sort of taking photos of my adventures, all this stuff back home with a little GoPro, and my family helped me to invest into my first camera coming into Australia. And the plan was, sort of like start documenting my life so my family will be able to see it. And I started making YouTube videos, and I found my passion in there. I realized, like, holy shit, I think I'm meant to do this, to make videos, document whatever I'm experiencing, living, learning, and share it with as many people as I can. So I pretty much started doing that. Fast forward, I'm a full-time YouTuber, podcaster, freelance filmmaker. And yeah, now I have moved from I lived in Brisbane for 4 years, and I just moved 3 weeks ago here to the Gold Coast with my boy Matty, and which I'm really excited about, to not just start the podcast, but experiencing life with you, my man, as long as we can. So I guess that sums it pretty well, right?
I think that's a pretty good bio.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna have like 1,000 more episodes to sort of get into it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you want to go?
I'll go. Well, it's not going to be quite like yours. So my privileged life. I'm born in Australia. I grew up in Cairns in tropical North Queensland, which is a little bit more country, less city lifestyle. So that was good growing up. Good, just swimming, riding bikes, living, all that sort of stuff. Went through school, all pretty normal. And then pretty much from the time I was 13, 14, I picked up a camera. And I was very heavily into my mountain bikes, racing, doing all that sort of stuff. I wasn't that good at racing. So a bunch of races I was actually out of action, broken wrist, broken ankle, whatever. So I opted to film the race. And it was pretty much just pointing a camera and just seeing what you could do. And then I just started doing that more and more and more up until I was about 17 when we finished school. And I didn't have paid jobs or anything. It was a hobby. But I sort of had a few, there was a couple YouTubers. There was a local guy that was older than me doing really well as well. So I'm like, I should probably pursue this. And I decided to go and study film at university.
Which university did you study?
I had to move to Brisbane. So
that's why you moved to Brisbane. Okay.
Yeah, so Cairns, very isolated sort of place. In that career path, there's not a lot there. You certainly can't study it. So moved to Brisbane, which was normal. Most of the kids sort of out of school, if they went to uni, had to move. So that's what I did. Did a 3-year course. I pretty much was a bartender, and then I slowly transitioned picking up freelance work.
Yeah. Until
I could drop bartending, and it took the whole 3 years. So I did a lot of work for free in the first year or two. Just film anything you could, point a camera. I was skipping lectures to film stuff because I'm like, surely it's better off that I go and film something than someone tells me how to film it. Turns out it is. So that's what I did. And then by the time third year rolled around, I had a couple businesses that I'd started with a friend. I was doing quite a lot of freelance work. I'd been contracting to, like done some work for the government, some big brands, and then like a lot of small brands. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was enough that I didn't have to bartend anymore.
Okay.
So by the time I finished uni, I had some form of career. And then I went real deep into some other businesses that was sort of around that, and that took me a little bit away from content creation, still along the lines like marketing, branding, a lot in communications, still all the digital stuff. So I did that for a few years as well. It didn't work out in the sense of that endeavor.
Yeah.
But the amount of skills I learned, it was sort of like doing another marketing degree or something like that. And when I came out the backside of that and started picking up freelance work again, it was good.
Yeah.
I was fully fledged. I had a lot of skills. I could do the web design, the graphics design, pretty much everything, because I knew like, yeah, you can pick up a film job or a photo job, but there may be 4 other skills that you could also pick up jobs for.
Yeah.
So instead of having my 3 jobs a month, I'd have 6. So that was good. And then Beck, my wife, the Queen.
Yeah, the Queen. That's how we call it. So whenever you hear the Queen, we're referring to Matt's wife.
Because she's a queen.
Yeah.
So she was getting sick and tired of her job in Brisbane, and we'd been there for 6 or 7 years at this stage. Most of my work was online. I was doing a lot of e-commerce stuff, and she's like, can I look for jobs that aren't in Brisbane?
Oh, so it was because of her that you moved?
It was because of her.
Oh,
well, sort of. So, so she pretty much goes, okay, and she's pulling up all these jobs that she wants to go to, and she's like, Ballarat, Canberra, Rockhampton, Darwin, Tweed. And I'm like, Tweed.
Tweed. It's not even a question. Alice Springs, Cairns, Darwin. No, Tweed. No. Not even a question.
Not going to Rockhampton. Sorry. So, yeah, and that's it. It's only 2 hours down the road from Brisbane. So if I really had to jump in a car and do a film job, I can go up there. Yeah. But most of my work was on a computer. So it didn't matter. It didn't make any difference. So we moved down here, and then as sort of the work declined a little bit because the major people I was working with just got busy doing other stuff, or I just lost those connections. I'm like, maybe it's time to do an actual job, because other than the bartending, which I did for a couple of years, I'd never actually had an employer. It was always myself, which is, I was 25 at this stage. So my resume read 25 years old, never had a job, shot some films.
25-year-old resume. Hey, we have a potential guy here. Look what he says. Skills, useless.
Useless. And honestly, when I first went for jobs, man, I chucked out like 50 resumes. I might have heard back from less than 5. Because I was applying for stuff that I didn't even want to do, but they were like pretty, I don't know, commercial type things.
Yeah.
And then pretty much what happened was I ended up getting a job with a skateboard company, electric skateboards. It gelled well because most of my career was in action sports.
Yeah.
And they were looking for someone that could do more than just a film and photo. So it was sort of what I was looking for and what they were looking for. So I was lucky in that fit, and that pretty much brings us up to where we are now. Yeah.
Which is, you moved to the Gold Coast. Beck found a job here.
I should probably say Beck's been in my life
Oh, yeah.
The whole time.
yeah, I was gonna say, because I'm single as fuck, if anyone wants to take me, but Matty's taken, so don't even try, because I know, because you're the most handsome of the podcast, people are just gonna try for you, bro, and you're taken, so I'm the only one that can be taken.
Take him. He's a better choice.
Yeah. Let me just say, bro, you're stunning today. You're looking beautiful today.
At Nelf Life on Instagram, if you jump on there, you can see what this man actually looks like without a shirt on.
No, let me just say, it's gonna be difficult for me to keep up with your beauty the entire season that we do this podcast for.
He reads these books on how to make people feel good. He's doing a pretty good job right now.
No, I tell you this all the time. You're the sweetest human ever, and I couldn't be more happy to start a podcast in English with someone that is not you. So
the good vibes theory.
The good vibes theory. Yeah. So
we were going to call it Two Good Looking Guys.
It was more like Two Perspectives or Two Worlds podcast, but that was close.
But we're pretty happy.
Yeah, so we pretty much, I just brought the idea to Matt, like, hey, let's start a podcast. Somehow he fucking agreed to do this. And it's funny because since I brought it to you, you say yes without question. And you've been like, yeah, so what do we need for the podcast? I told you, gave a list, we write everything down. So we need a title, we need an intro music, we need logo, blah, 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 all these things. And you sounded pretty confident until I told you like 20 minutes ago, Matt, let's go shoot. You were shitting your pants. So what happened? Like, were you just faking it and trying to make yourself believe that you were excited for this, or what was going through your head?
No, I think I am excited.
You just need to make sure all the time that that's recording. So every 30 minutes or closer, you will see me go through the camera to make sure it's recording. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think the difference between you and me as a creator is that you're at the front of what you do always. So you have like this personality where you portray yourself.
Yeah.
I'm almost always filming other people. So when it's time for me to put myself out there, it's just not
out of your comfort zone.
It's out of my comfort zone. It's not something I'm used to. I do it bits, like I jump on camera for work and whatnot. I've done it in the past, but it's definitely not something I do every single day like you do. So that's pretty much it. And then a podcast, that's like a new thing. Like, at least if I'm filming a vlog, I can edit it and
you have control of it.
Like if I have to do a take to the camera, I'll do it like 10 times. So to do like just a raw unedited podcast, putting your actual thoughts out there, it's a little bit daunting.
It is.
But I think that the concept of it is exciting, and that's why I was excited at the start. I just need to warm up to it a little bit. Yeah,
I'm sure you will be fine. Like by the third, fourth episode, you'll be like, oh, sweet, this is, home.
I might have as much energy as you.
And that's why I think this podcast will be very interesting for a lot of people, because we are similar in a lot of ways, but we are very different in so many ways as well. Like, let's start by the fact that you're fucking 6'4" and I'm just 5'7", so you're fucking huge, enormous. Like, you probably can't tell in this setup, but he's enormous, an enormous human. But yeah, like, we are into photos, filming, all these things, but we grew up in opposite corners of the world. That's fucked up. Like, how crazy is that we're sitting next to each other, sharing in like a same space, house, life, all these things, and we come from completely different backgrounds.
Our upgrowing, you'd struggle to have two more different upbringings. Like, we were we're almost exactly the same age. There's a few months different between us. And like, we have the same, like, I guess, family structure. Our parents are there. We got some siblings. But like, I can't even visualize how you sort of grew up. Like, what was it like when you were 6, 7, 8? Like, we'll talk about it. Like
that's why I think this could become something very interesting, because we bring similar stuff, like similar interests, but at the same time we have completely different perspectives on life and on every single subject that we touch in. We love, as you can tell, like cameras and other stuff. So what can people expect from the podcast? I would say a lot of stuff will be like, we will talk probably when new camera stuff and shit like that comes out.
I think we can touch on tech.
Yeah.
We're not tech reviewers.
No, not that far, but probably just
thoughts.
mention, give little thoughts on those kind of things. We're into, like sports, all this stuff.
Like sports, we're both very much, we love travel as a means for just getting outside, and it's probably one of the best excuses to be active and do stuff.
We're pretty much as well into everything that's happening constantly within like news of around social media, YouTube, all these worlds.
Touch on those controversial issues. Yeah, because I'm sure that's when we're going to have a little bit different views there.
Yeah, probably. Which I'm looking forward to keep learning from you, because like I said, you come from a full different background, so I bet we will learn from each other a lot.
100%.
This will be a raw, unfiltered, unedited conversation, so we probably gonna say shit that some people won't like, and you're welcome to just leave. Turn off.
See you later. Yeah, I think I will definitely do that. I'm planning on it.
Yeah,
but I think it'll be good. I think there's so many I'm just thinking of all these little facets that we could start talking about, but it's an entire conversation.
Yeah.
So there's so many like the conversation obviously between me and Beck before you moved in was like,
oh yeah, tell me about that.
Do you want to go into it?
Yeah, let's explain people how we came to this to live it together.
Let's start how we met.
How we met, right? Yeah.
Well, that's podcast number 1. Let's do that.
Great fucking host of the podcast.
If we had discussed what we were going to cover, we would have said that.
But because this is, if you have to take one piece of information of learning out of this episode, is that you need to do more than just think, because people that just think don't fucking do, and if you don't do, you don't make shit happen. So we're here to prove that without any fucking preparation, we're gonna make shit happen.
Camera, table, microphones.
Horrible background. You see, like, this will improve through time. I'm sure we'll figure the lighting, we'll figure the space, we'll figure the sound, everything out. But we're making shit happen. And life belongs to those who go out there and make shit happen. So go do your stuff. Don't wait for it to magically happen.
So how we met. So
back to 2018.
It'd be something like that. So we have a mutual friend called Darren.
Yeah, great, handsome human.
Another handsome man.
Yeah.
And then there's like Juan's sort of part of that too, because he was a mutual, but let's just not go too deep.
Beautiful human as well.
Why is everyone so beautiful?
I know, everyone around us.
And pretty much I was doing some work for Darren at the time. He had an app, Storyboard, where it was sort of a photo-based travel app. And we were doing different missions to create content. And we came up with the idea of doing a van trip around Tasmania. He knew you mainly through Juan.
Yeah.
And said, hey, there's this dude that's like sort of doing content. You weren't at the level you're at now, but he pretty much showed me your Instagram, and like it looks sick. And it was no detriment for me to have another creator on the trip. So I'm like, all right, let's take it. And then, so that was it. We booked in to do a Tasmania trip. I remember talking to you on the phone or something like that about some rough game plans.
Yeah, it was. I think it was like just Facebook Messenger or something like that.
Yeah, but we never met.
No,
until I came to your house to pick you up to go to the airport for this trip. And
we have never seen each other. I just knew how you look, obviously, because of your Instagram and stuff. But yeah, that was our first time ever when you came to pick me up to go to the airport.
And yeah, we dived in head first. We flew down to Tasmania. We rented a wicked, not even a camper van. It was a truck with a rooftop tent. It was the middle of winter.
It was fucking horrible.
And we
spending the nights because it was very cold.
Cuddling. Getting to know each other very well.
Very well, very deep, and very fast. Yeah.
4 days of that, and just 24/7 together. And yeah, pretty much from there, you sort of like learn a bit about what I was doing, because I was doing the freelance thing. You were moving into it. After that, we just kept talking, always like talking about new gear, talking about different jobs, how we each do something. And then, oh man, I don't remember the next time I actually saw you in person.
Bro, it went so long, I can't even remember. But like, we haven't, before me moving in, we haven't seen ourselves maybe more than 3 times.
No, but did I see you in between the Cairns trip and the Tasmania trip?
I don't think so, bro.
That's crazy.
That's insane. But that's how fucking beautiful is that we met. We just hung out, like got along really well. We connected really well. We stayed in touch. And it's not like we were talking often or whatever. It was just one of those beautiful friendships where you meet the other person and you sort of like, it doesn't matter how long time, how much time goes by. Once you get in touch, it's like nothing has happened. So we got in touch, whatever, here and there, talking about whatever. And then
there was one time, remember, you came to my house because you made the vlog.
That was it.
Yeah, there was one time.
That was like a year later.
Yeah, just briefly, because you were on the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I'll just drop by.
That was it.
And then when we did the latest trip, which was like 2 months ago, we went to Cairns, same thing, a 4-day content trip, but it felt like we were like really good mates.
Yeah, it felt like I know you since ever.
Yeah. So we'd only seen each other once in between those 2 trips.
So that was our 3rd time being together. That's mind-blowing, man. Because, Matty got in touch. He said, like, hey, I need to do some filming. You keen? Yeah, let's do it. So we went to Cairns with 2 great mates of us. Now,
it's strange that they are also beautiful.
Yeah, that was gonna say. Like, they're super good looking.
So good looking.
Yeah. So then we went to Cairns again. We had epic time. Got great content. Mission accomplished. Come back. I finally bought a car after so many fucking years of being in Australia, and then came to visit Matt on the weekend, and I came to your house.
This was just after the Cairns trip.
Yeah, like not long ago, like a month ago. No, a month and a half, something like that. Came to visit, and then you showed me this beautiful place that we're living now. You bought this house a year ago, right?
Yeah, a bit more.
And then you showed me this space, the granny flat you have down here, and you like, I asked you, oh, who's living here? And you said, like, sort of joking, like, well, that's for you. And I was like, no way I could afford this and shit. And then like, just talking about it, you were like, no, actually, if you want to live here.
Yeah.
Why did you offer that to me?
Well,
because you knew that I didn't have enough money to pay for this. So if you just get whoever else you get in here, you'll get a lot more money, twice as what I'm paying or whatever.
Probably not twice, but
close to it.
Besides the point. Well, we had no one in here for a year. Like, we don't need to rent it. And we wouldn't want to rent it out and get more money for someone that, like, is a pain, because we'd rather have it empty. So it's not really about the money. Like, it's good because it helps with the mortgage and all that stuff. But it was more important to have someone that we actually could deal with being here. And that's after, like, we spent time together in Cairns and we're talking about everything. Your career's come, like, heaps, like, a long way. I felt that you needed to come to the Gold Coast to start with.
Why is that?
Because I think there's more opportunity here. And given, like, everything that you love, like your surfing, just like the ability to go to a beautiful place, like real easy. It's more you. It just suits you better. And then as far as like quick work for freelancing creative, there's a lot of brands doing cool stuff down here that aren't massive corporations like in the city. There's a hell of a lot more influencers and other people that you can tee up with and collaborate with, and man, just have like create something. I don't know, but that's where opportunities are going to come from. So I just knew that you needed to be on the coast, or it'd be better for you to be on the coast.
Okay.
So I'm like, look, I mean, if we're going to rent out the granny flat, we should rent it out to someone that I think should be here, someone that I know that we're going to get along with. And then me and Beck spoke about it, and we're like, you're a gleaming light of positivity, right? Because of your see, maybe you might get embarrassed now. Because of your background, like you have such a fresh take on everything, like life, and it's refreshing for pretty much anyone that's like doing what we do, that has this beautiful view, right? But we don't appreciate it in the same way as you do. So to have someone there that's just going to be like, hey guys, this is fucking amazing. Like, we felt that it was going to make us better people by having you here, as opposed to getting an extra $100 a week and having a dickhead in here.
Fuck, you're gonna make me cry in the first episode, bro.
Yeah. So no, that was a lot, but that was sort of why Beck was a big fan, and she was happy to do it because she just liked you because you were so positive. And then, yeah, I just knew it'd be good for your career. I feel like you got the same sort of skills as me, right? You're doing exactly what I did, but you got more not limitations, you got more obstacles than what I had, which is not my responsibility, but if I can do something about it, I like to do something about it.
And that was my next question. Why would you want to help me? Because you have been one of my biggest supporters. You're even subscribed to my Patreon, you know, all these things. Like, why are you doing it?
I feel like, I don't know, there's a bit to it. Like, I feel like, well, it's hard because if you were dropped into my life right at the start, you wouldn't have gone through the experiences which made you into the person that you are. But if you were the person you are that have faced some of the opportunities that I've had, you'd be in a different position as well. So it's a bit two-sided, but now that you are the person you are, you have the positivity, you have the outlook, you have the motivation, I think that you should have all the opportunities that could come your way without it like this one. It's not a big deal. This isn't me like mortgaging my house and betting all my chips on you. It's just being a nice person, and I don't know, like it's not a massive deal, but if I can help someone, I'll help someone, and also you appreciate it. I feel like too often, like there's been certain people like I made films for like no money because like I see potential and maybe they could use the help, but then they don't like grab the ball and run. Like, yeah. Does that sort of make sense?
Yeah, it all makes completely sense, and it makes my heart, like melt, man. Yeah, because I told you, you're one of the sweetest humans, and somehow I just got so freaking lucky that I met you.
We had this discussion though, remember? And I said, you do deserve it. And we spoke about the conversation between... I
don't deserve shit.
No, we spoke about this. And it's the conversation between deserving something and being entitled to it. So my views are like, you've done what you've done over the last couple of years. You've put yourself into a position. So when you reap something back from that, you're not saying, I am entitled to it, I have to have it. But when it comes your way, you can look at what you've done and say, like, I earned that, or it's justified, my actions resulted in that. And that was you being a good guy every time we spoke. So it's not like I'm doing this for no reason. You did deserve it.
I sort of earn it in a way, but you see, but when this stuff happens to me, the way I see it is always like, yeah, I don't deserve this. I just guess I got a little bit lucky with all my hard work. Like, but at the same time, but it's because of, we're talking about me, right? And I'm always putting myself, I try to always put myself in check of being like, yeah, you just got lucky, like keep just working your ass off, sort of.
That's why you can't be entitled. So I think entitled, that means you're expecting something that you have no justification for deserving. Like you can't, I don't know, you can't deserve, or you can't be entitled to expect that you're not going to put the work into learning how to film and then charge someone $6,000 for a job. Not going to happen. But if you are doing sick content for free and then someone comes up and say, hey, I like your thing, I'll give you $2,000. That's not being lucky. That's reaping the benefits of what you've sowed.
You cultivated, yeah.
So you can call it lucky, you can call it whatever.
Result of hard work, whatever.
But yeah, you're pathing your own way.
There's one bit that I want to add to it, because like there's so let's say you have someone, let's say me, that I keep working my ass off every day for the next 10 years, and in the next 10 years I really don't get to the place that I have in my head, and I start just whining and being like, life is fucking unfair. I worked my ass for 15 years and I didn't get to the place I was supposed to be according to me, that's entitlement.
That's entitlement.
And even though you have worked your ass off and you sort of, in a way, should earn the results that does, like, life is unfair. That's what I'm trying to head, right?
Yeah.
Like never get, doesn't matter. That's why constantly, doesn't matter how hard I'm working, whatever comes through my way that is positive, of adds to what I'm doing, I'm constantly like trying to remind, celebrate, fuck, this is cool, I sort of earned this, but let's just keep going. What's the next thing? That's the way that I have programmed myself to be, of not being like, oh yeah, I got this, let's just settle down for a bit, or even getting to a point where I just start complaining because I haven't got the results. Because every fucking human wants results, but very few people want to put the actual work, so don't be an entitled bitch.
Don't be a little bitch. Yeah. And I think you also got to be like, I guess, realistic about what you're going towards. Like, you can still have a really high goal and have people say that you're not going to do it. But if your goal is to be Justin Bieber, like, you need to be malleable. And if like you get like a little bit of the way there and another opportunity presents, like, you can't just be fixated on one thing.
You got to be able to adapt.
Yeah, because you can be not good enough for some things. Everyone's got different skills. It's okay to be not good enough. So yeah, if you're still doing it in 10 years, which I don't think you will be, you just need to pivot. Do something a little bit different, but you won't, because we'll have conversations in a year's time and it'll be like, it's a pretty good opportunity, man. I think you should probably go down that route.
Yeah, you got it. Like, one of the best skills you can definitely add to your toolbox is being able to adapt, right? Because life is not constant. Life is in constant changes, it's variable. So you have ups, you have downs, and you're constantly learning, evolving, adding new perspectives to your mindset, all these things. So one of the best things is learning when to quit something because it's not the right thing to do, and adapt, or not necessarily quit that thing to pursue something different, but to adapt yourself to whatever you're doing. Let's say you love soccer and then you've been trying to become a soccer player for years and you're 30 something years. Realistically, it's very unlikely that you're going to make Real Madrid being 30 something years, whatever. You're too old, let's say, for the standards of what your body can provide for the long run, right? So how can you adapt to still pursue your passion, still be happy and fulfilled and have goals without having to leave that? Because you don't you don't want to. If you're already doing your passion, you maybe could become a commentator of soccer. Maybe you could become a soccer instructor, a soccer coach, have a team, teach kids, whatever it is. But I can assure you, most of the time, there's always something else that you can do that is connected to your passion, that will give you direction, and maybe even make you realize, like, holy shit, I love this even more than being a player.
100%.
Yeah.
And if you're fixated on that one goal, you're going to let all those opportunities go by.
Just go by.
Imagine that someone that's 30-something years old, they're too old, or not too old, but like they could have, I don't know, gone into coaching and now had 10 years under their belt and be really successful.
Yeah.
So if that's, just be thoughtful about what you want to do. And I've been on both sides of it. So I've done things where I stuck in the one thing for too long and it had negative implications.
Yeah.
And then like sometimes like an opportunity's just sort of been there and I've just gone boom. And it's been very fruitful for all sorts of things. Or it's taking you to new places, or, you know, you've learned a whole bunch of new stuff, or you just earn money.
Exactly.
But I've seen them go past and not do it too. So
yeah, it's definitely like being in constant like reevaluation of what you're doing, of what are the results you're getting, how is that compared to your own metrics of success, which we'll probably talk in the next episodes, because that's a huge topic that is very fun as well. But identifying how do you define success and how what you're doing is keeping you happy, and both like feeling those boxes of, oh, this is what it means success to me, and related to what I'm doing is fully connected, so I'm in the right track, you know. So it's constantly looking at that, and then if you reach a point of, look, I'm not feeling happy, I'm not getting results like I was 2 years ago, like now I feel stuck, and I've been trying really to improve whatever I'm doing, my craft or whatever it is that you're trying to pursue. If you reach that point, it's probably good to do what you said, like, okay, what can I pivot to? Is it something related within the same industry, or am I just done with it? Like, because that could happen as well. So yeah, it's constantly like taking a moment to be like, to evaluate everything you have gone through and see where you're heading. And I don't know why we talk about all these things. I feel like we're gonna go in a lot of different tangents, which will be good. It's great conversation. It's been great. But taking it back to what people can expect of the podcast. So as you can tell from this first episode, it'll be a lot of positive stuff and things that hopefully will be a tool for you to create the life of your dreams, the things that you're trying to pursue, to accomplish. We're here to inspire people by the things we have learned, the things that, like I said, we fucked up, and hopefully in entertain you as well. It's not gonna be very serious stuff. We're gonna just be ourselves, and yeah,
pretty much just talk about the good vibes theory, mate.
To try to develop this theory we have that we can fucking change the world by changing one human at a time.
Pretty much.
Helping them use their good vibes.
I'm excited to, like, when we dive deeper into, like, what we just spoke about, really see how the different upbringings, like, bring that
play
out
into place.
And then we'll just go off on tangents, talking stories and all that sort of cool stuff.
Is there anything? We're at episode 1. If we're talking, let's say, episode 50, which is a long way ahead. If we're dropping, we're just saying we're supposed to be dropping one weekly episode. That's the goal. Yeah. That's the goal so far. One weekly episode. We're gonna start to be just us, to get used to each other, to understand how to handle conversations, how's the podcast feeling and all these things. And once we feel good, we're gonna start bringing some guests, which will be pretty exciting.
It'll be exciting. We might go to some different places.
We might shoot in different places. Matty already had a great idea to make some segments and stuff. If you have any questions, feel free to drop those. If there's anything that you want to know about us or about the things that we're planning in the future, feel free to shoot some questions to the DMs. Matty, where can people find you on social media?
Oh, you can find me at a guy called Matty on Instagram.
I love it.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I'm at. I got a YouTube too. It's very, very old. Yeah.
Is it still live?
Yeah, it's live. I got like hundreds of thousands of views of kids riding scooters like 7-8 years ago.
Oh fuck! Yeah. We should probably dedicate a little bit of an episode for that.
We'll do a reaction video to it.
We need to find some way for me to be able to reach the phone easier. Anyways, you can find me on social media as well at Nelflife. I speak Spanish in a lot of my YouTube videos, but it's still on YouTube, and I'm trying to make subtitles for it, since there's a huge amount of people requesting for me to make the subtitles. So I'm trying to put the effort and the extra time to make the subtitles. Now for life, you'll find all the links in the description of this video. You can find the podcast, the visuals on YouTube, and then you can find us on all the audio platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc. All the links will be in the description, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram and any other social media at the Good Vibes Theory. Links in description
down below. That pretty much wraps it up, eh? Episode 1.
We should have some sort of like intro and then outro, like something we always say to wrap up the episode.
Then we can put it on merch.
Anyways, we'll figure that one out. This episode was just to prove you guys that it's all about doing. So stop thinking and do more. We'll see you guys on the next one. Good vibes to everyone.
Good vibes to everyone.
I like that one.
Signing out.
Boom. How do you feel, brother?
Feeling all right.
Yeah?
No, it's good. It's good. I think once we get actually into a conversation, I'm not thinking about this.
Yeah.
Like once I have
you did amazing.
Maybe. I don't know.
We'll see. Amazing.
We'll get all the comments like, what the fuck is that guy doing?